He lives, but she no longer exists. Kael's breath came in wet, tearing pulls, half growl, half man. Blood soaked the pine needles beneath him, dark and metallic, sharp enough that it stung the back of her throat. His spine arched wrong, caught between forms. Bone refused to settle. Fur bled through skin and then retreated again like it couldn't decide what he was allowed to be. Seraphine pressed both hands to his chest, feeling the stutter, too slow, then too fast. Heat poured off him in waves, fever and something wilder. It burned her palms. "Stay," she said, low. Not pleading. Not yet. His eyes flickered open, unfocused. He didn't see her. He saw through her, past her, like the world was already loosening its grip. The forest held its breath. She felt it before she heard it. A pressure, deep and intimate, like fingers pressing against the inside of her ribs. Not a voice. Something older than that. Meaning without sound. "You can keep him." Her throat tightened. "What does it take?" The trees leaned closer. The dark seemed to listen. "You." It slid through her mind without shape. No face, no body, only certainty. A weight that knew her down to the marrow. Kael's heart faltered beneath her hands. She didn't ask again. "Take it," she said. The rawness answered instantly. It didn't hurt. Not at first. It removed. Her name rose to her lips, reflex, identity, anchor, and snapped. Gone. The space it left wasn't silence. It was absence so complete it rang. She tried to say it again, to hold on to it, but the sound fractured, syllables collapsing into something unrecognizable. Her chest hitched. "Wait," she tried, but even the plea felt thin, detached from whoever had spoken it before. Something peeled away inside her, memories tethered to a word she could no longer reach. Faces blurred at the edges. Places lost their names. Even her own voice sounded unfamiliar, like she was borrowing it. Kael's body jerked. Air slammed into his lungs. His back bowed, then settled. The shifting stopped fighting itself. Bones slid into place with a series of sickening, final clicks. The heat steadied. Alive. Her hands trembled where they rested on him. She didn't pull them away. For a moment, neither of them moved. The forest exhaled, slow and uneasy. Kael blinked, breath still ragged, but real now. Present. His gaze found her. Not through her, at her. Confusion came first. Then caution. His brow furrowed as if something wasn't aligning, some instinct catching on a scent it couldn't name. She waited for recognition. For anything. His eyes searched her face, lingering, almost there, then slipping. "Hey," she said softly. The word felt fragile in her mouth, like it might break if she held it too tight. He pushed himself up on one elbow, wincing. His voice was rough, scraped raw. He swallowed, studying her again, slower this time. Closer. There was something in his expression now. Not memory. Not quite. A pull. Uneasy. Unplaced. Who? He hesitated, like the question itself resisted forming. "Are you?" The answer sat on her tongue, unreachable. The gates of Vorrenmoor creaked the same way they always had, long, tired with dragging against iron, but the sound didn't land where it used to. She felt it miss. Kael walked half a step ahead of her, steady now, but not fully recovered. His shoulders held tension like a second spine, every movement measured. The wound had closed. The memory hadn't. People passed them on the narrow path. No one looked at her twice. Not even once, really. Their eyes slid over her, paused on Kael, concern flickering, recognition anchoring, but she was air. A shape that didn't hold. She tested it. "Morning," she said to a woman carrying firewood. The woman shifted the bundle on her hip and kept walking. No hesitation. No confusion. Just absence. Something hollowed out behind her ribs. Kael noticed the silence. "You know them?" he asked, glancing back, not unkindly. "I thought I did." The answer came too quickly, like she'd rehearsed it without realizing. His gaze lingered a second longer than necessary. Not recognition, something else. A faint crease between his brows, like his instincts were pressing against a door his mind couldn't open. He turned away first. The lodge came into view, low, weathered stone, smoke curling from the chimney. Familiar. It should have felt like something. It didn't. Inside, warmth wrapped around them. Voices, low and steady. The smell of iron, herbs, old wood. "Kael," someone called. Relief moved through the room, subtle but real. A man crossed the space quickly, gripping Kael's shoulder, checking him with a hunter's efficiency. "We thought," he stopped, exhaling. "You made it back." Kael nodded once. Barely. No one asked about her. She stood just inside the doorway, close enough to feel the heat from the fire, far enough that it didn't belong to her. Her gaze drifted to the far wall. A hook where something used to hang. Her coat. It wasn't there. In its place, a stranger sat, wrong color, wrong cut. Like the space had been filled without memory of what it replaced. Her fingers curled slightly at her sides. "Who brought you in?" the man asked Kael. Kael hesitated. She felt it, sharp, sudden. His uncertainty wasn't blank. It had weight. Edges. He glanced around, then over his shoulder. At her. That same almost recognition flickered again. Stronger this time. His body went still, not rigid, but aware. Like something in him had lifted its head. "I wasn't alone," he said slowly. The man followed his gaze. Looked straight through her. "Doesn't look like it," he replied, already turning away. "You probably blacked out part of it." Kael didn't move. The room kept breathing around them, quiet conversations, the crack of firewood, but his focus stayed fixed. On the space she occupied. On the outline no one else could see. A low tension settled into his stance. Not threat. Not trust. Something in between. She took a step back. The movement was small. Careful. His eyes tracked it immediately. That, he felt. Not her name. Not her past. But the shift. The distance. Her chest tightened. Outside, the light caught on a window pane. She turned toward it without thinking. Her reflection lagged. Just a fraction of a second, but enough. Her body moved, and the image followed, like it needed permission. She stilled. So did it. Behind her, Kael's voice came quieter now. Closer. Wait. She didn't. If she stayed, she might try to explain something she couldn't even hold onto herself. His hand caught her wrist. Not rough. But firm enough that it mattered. Heat surged where he touched her, sharp, immediate. His breath hitched, barely there, like the contact had surprised him too. He didn't let go. "I know I don't know you," he said, low, careful. "But something's wrong." Her throat tightened around words that didn't exist anymore. His grip shifted, not looser. More certain. "Tell me why it feels like I should." He didn't let go. Her wrist stayed in his hand, heat locked between them, his thumb resting just above her pulse like he was measuring something he didn't trust. The contact steadied him, she felt it before he did. His breathing evened, the tight edge in his shoulders easing by degrees. He noticed. His grip tightened, just slightly. Not to hold her in place. To test it. Her pulse kicked harder. "Let go," she said quietly. It wasn't forceful. It wasn't weak either. A choice. Kael hesitated, then released her like it cost him something. The absence hit fast. Cold. His jaw flexed. "You're staying," he said, more to himself than to her. A decision forming out of discomfort. "Until I figure this out." She almost laughed. It would have sounded wrong. "I'm not," she stopped. The words thinned out before they could land. "From here. Part of this." Nothing fit. His eyes narrowed. "You don't belong here." "No," she said, softer. "I don't." That should have ended it. It didn't. The room they gave him was small, spare, wood, linen, the lingering scent of antiseptic herbs. She stayed near the door at first, a distance she could control. Kael sat on the edge of the bed, shirt discarded, bandage dark where it wrapped his ribs. The wound was closed, but not clean. It would scar wrong if left. He watched her instead of the injury. "You've done this before," he said. Not a question. Her hands paused over the basin. Warm water, cloth, steady motions. Things her body remembered even if her mind felt thinned. "Yes." "With who?" She wrung the cloth out slowly. "People who needed it." His mouth pressed into a line. Not satisfied. Not pushing, yet. "Come here," she said. He didn't argue. That was the first thing that unsettled him. Kael shifted forward, close enough that she could feel the heat coming off him again, less fever now, more contained. Alive in a different way. She knelt in front of him. Careful. Deliberate. The cloth touched his skin. He inhaled sharply, not from pain. From something else. His body stilled under her hands, tension pulling tight and then, easing. Too easily. Her fingers worked along the edge of the wound, cleaning what the bandage had missed. She didn't rush it. Gave him time to pull away. He didn't. His gaze stayed on her face, searching for something that refused to surface. "You're not afraid," he said after a moment. "I should be?" A faint, humorless breath left him. "Most people are." "I'm not most people." Something in his chest shifted at that. A low, quiet recognition that didn't have a memory attached. His pulse slowed beneath her touch. He noticed that too. His hand came up before he could stop it, hovered near her shoulder, then settled there, testing. The contact sent a sharper reaction through him this time. Not calm. Awareness. His fingers tightened. "What are you doing to me?" he asked, low. She shook her head, barely. "Nothing." "Then why does it stop hurting when you touch me?" Her hands faltered, just for a second. That was enough. His eyes sharpened. "And why?" he continued, quieter now. "Does it feel worse when you don't?" The space between them narrowed without either of them moving. Her breath brushed his skin. She should step back. She didn't. His voice dropped, rougher. More certain than it had any right to be. "I don't know you." His thumb pressed lightly into her shoulder, grounding himself. "But something in me does." She left before the room could close in around her. The village hadn't changed. That was the worst part. The same worn paths cut through the grass. The same doors creaked on their hinges. Smoke still curled from the same chimneys, carrying scents she knew by instinct: bread, ash, damp wool. But nothing met her anymore. She stopped outside a narrow house at the edge of the lane. Her house. Or what had been. The door stood open. Inside, someone else's life had settled in, different boots by the threshold, a different rhythm in the air. A woman moved through the space with quiet familiarity, humming under her breath. Seraphine didn't step inside. She didn't need to. There was no echo of herself here. No residue. No resistance. Just absence, clean and complete. Her chest tightened anyway. "Excuse me," she tried, because some part of her still expected friction. The woman didn't look up. Seraphine's throat worked. She forced the next words out. "I used to." It broke. Not like before, not cleanly severed. This time it pressed back. Her lungs resisted, her voice thinning into something unusable, like the shape of the sentence had been erased before it could exist. She swallowed hard. Nothing. The effort left a dull ache behind her ribs. A rule, then. Not just gone, contained. She stepped away from the door slowly, pulse uneven. The world didn't reject her. It simply refused to hold anything she tried to anchor into it. Exist only in the present. The understanding didn't come from memory. It settled into her like something taught without words. She exhaled and kept walking. Kael didn't sleep. Not properly. His body gave in eventually, dragged under by exhaustion, but his mind stayed restless, caught in loops that refused to resolve. A forest. Dark. Breathing. The sense of something slipping away. He moved through it, slower than he should have been, like the ground resisted him. There was someone ahead, just out of reach. Not running. Waiting. He knew that without seeing her. Her. The certainty came sharp and immediate. But her face. Nothing. Blank space where something should have been. It made something in him strain, hard enough that it hurt. "Wait," he heard himself say. She didn't turn. Still, he felt it, the awareness. Like she'd heard him in a way that didn't need sound. He reached for her. Almost. Her hand brushed his. Heat. Real. Immediate. Everything in him locked onto it. A name surged up with it, urgent, necessary, his. His chest seized. He woke with a sharp inhale, the sound breaking out of him before he could stop it. The room was dark, quiet. Real. His hand was still half lifted, like it had reached for something that wasn't there anymore. The name sat on his tongue. Gone. Not forgotten. Removed. His jaw tightened. Frustration came fast, edged with something deeper he couldn't place. Loss without context. Hunger without direction. Kael swung his legs off the bed, breath uneven. He didn't remember her. But the absence she left behind was starting to feel like something taken. Outside, the night air cut cold against his skin. He didn't know why his feet carried him toward the door. Only that something, someone, was out there. And whatever had been erased, hadn't let him go. The forest didn't sleep. It watched. She felt it before she saw anything, pressure at the edge of perception, the same wrongness that had pressed into her bones that night. It lingered just beyond the tree line, patient. Not hunting. Waiting. Seraphine slowed near the lodge, gaze fixed on the dark between trunks. It was closer now. A shift in the air, not wind. Attention. You feel it too. Kael's voice came from behind her, low, already alert. She didn't turn immediately. It followed us. Or it stayed, he said, That unsettled him more. He stepped up beside her, close enough that their shoulders almost brushed. His presence altered the space, grounded it, sharpened it. His wolf stirred under the surface. She could feel it in the way his breathing changed, deeper, more deliberate. Protective. Of her. He didn't understand it. She could see that in the tension lining his jaw. Inside, he said. It wasn't a suggestion. They didn't argue about it. That was new. The room felt smaller this time. Not because it had changed, but because neither of them kept distance the way they had before. Forced proximity. Chosen, too. She stayed near the window. He stayed where he could see both her and the door. Neither of them mentioned it. Time stretched. Quiet settled, not empty, but full of things unsaid. She moved first. A small thing. She crossed the room, picked up the flask from the table, and held it out before he asked. Kael paused. He hadn't realized he needed it until it was already in her hand. His eyes lifted to hers, searching. How did you? She shrugged lightly. You keep reaching for it. I didn't. You were about to. The certainty in her voice made something in him tighten. He took it slowly, their fingers brushing in the exchange. Heat sparked, quick, sharp. His breath caught. Again. He pulled back a fraction too fast, like he'd touched something unstable. You move like you've been here before, he said, quieter now. Not accusing. Trying to understand. She didn't answer that. Couldn't. Instead, she turned slightly, giving him space he didn't take. Outside, something shifted. Not sound, presence. Closer than before. Kael's attention snapped to it instantly. His body angled toward the threat, instinct taking over in clean, precise lines. But he didn't move away from her. If anything, he adjusted so she was behind him. The realization hit him a second too late. He stilled. I don't do this, he muttered, more to himself than to her. Do what? His gaze flicked back, catching hers. Held. Stand between danger and someone I don't know. The words landed heavy. She felt them. So did he. Another shift outside, closer. Kael stepped forward without thinking, hand lifting. Reaching for her. Instinct. Immediate. His fingers hovered just short of her arm. Then stopped. Like he'd hit something invisible. Heat lingered in the space between them, unfinished. His hand clenched slightly before he pulled it back, sharp, controlled. Like it burned him to almost close the distance. His voice dropped, rougher now. This isn't normal. Her chest tightened, something fragile pressing up against her throat. No, she said softly. It isn't. But neither of them moved away. The change came quietly. Too quietly. Seraphine noticed it when a dog crossed the yard outside the lodge, thin, restless, always alert to strangers. It passed within arm's reach of her. Didn't flinch. Didn't scent. Didn't see. She stilled, breath catching in her throat. Slowly, she stepped into its path again. Nothing. It walked through the space she occupied like she wasn't there. A hollow opened under her ribs. Not erased this time. Fading. Inside, the air felt thicker. Sound dulled at the edges, like the room had been wrapped in something soft and suffocating. Voices blurred together. Even her own breath felt distant, delayed. Collecting. The cost wasn't finished. Kael felt it before he understood it. He was mid-motion, reaching for a blade on the table, when something in the room shifted wrong. Not scent. Not sound. Absence. His gaze snapped to her. She stood near the window again, but the light didn't hold her the same way. It slipped around her. Refused to settle. "What is that?" he asked, low. She didn't answer. Couldn't. The pressure was back, inside her chest, behind her ribs, warning. "Don't." Kael took a step closer, slow, deliberate. Like approaching something unpredictable. "You feel different," he said. Not uncertain. Controlled, but tight. "And don't tell me I'm imagining it." Her fingers curled slightly at her sides. "You're not." "Then explain it." "I can't." His jaw flexed. That answer again. Always just short of something real. "You keep saying that," he snapped, frustration breaking through now. "You show up out of nowhere, you act like you know everything about me." He stopped himself, breath sharp. "And then you won't say a single thing that matters." She held his gaze. Didn't look away. Because if she did, she might disappear entirely. "I know what matters," she said quietly. "Then say it." The pressure tightened. Her throat closed around the words before they could form. She tried anyway, forced breath into sound. Pain. Not sharp. Not physical. Something deeper, like her voice itself was being pulled apart before it could take shape. She staggered a half step, catching herself. Kael's expression shifted instantly. Anger cracked, replaced by something more dangerous. Concern. "What just happened?" She shook her head, breath unsteady. "I told you, I can't." "Why?" His voice dropped, harder now. "What are you not telling me?" Everything pressed in at once, his frustration, the watching thing beyond the walls, the slow erosion of herself. She was running out of time. "You act like you know me," he said, quieter now, but sharper for it. "Like I owe you something." The words hit harder than they should have. Because they were true. Her control slipped. Just for a second. "You did," she said. Silence. Not empty. Charged. Kael froze. Something inside him reacted, fast, visceral. His wolf surged forward, sharp and immediate, drawn not to the words, but to the pain behind them. A low, involuntary sound rumbled in his chest before he could stop it. Recognition. Not of her face. But of that. His gaze locked onto her, intensity shifting into something rawer, less controlled. "What did I do?" he asked, voice rough. She tried to answer. This time, no sound came out at all. The attack didn't announce itself. It arrived. The pressure outside snapped tight, then broke. The door shuddered inward, wood splintering under something that didn't fully exist. The air warped around it, bending light, swallowing sound. It moved like a shadow that had weight. Seraphine felt it lock onto her. Not the room. Not Kael. Her. The bargain had found its way back. Kael didn't hesitate this time. The shift tore through him, bone cracking, muscle reshaping, the sound raw and violent in the confined space. It wasn't clean. It wasn't controlled. It was necessary. Fur broke through skin, dark and bristling. His body expanded, grounded, anchored in something older than thought. His wolf surged forward fully, no restraint, no question. The thing moved. Too fast. It lunged, not at him, but past him. Toward her. Seraphine stumbled back as the air distorted around her, her form flickering at the edges. The world struggled to hold her shape, and the creature pressed into that weakness, reaching for the space she occupied. A sound tore from her, not a name, not a word. A feeling. Sharp. Urgent. Stay. The wolf reacted instantly. No thought. No confusion. Just her. He intercepted it mid-strike, slamming into the shifting mass with a force that shook the room. A snarl ripped from his throat, deep and absolute. His body positioned itself between her and the threat without hesitation, without question. It knew her. Not her face. Not her voice. But the pull, bone-deep and undeniable. The thing recoiled, not injured, but disrupted. It circled, testing, searching for the fractures in reality that made her vulnerable. The wolf didn't give it space. Every movement was precise, driven by something beyond memory. He tracked it, cut it off, forced it away from her with brutal efficiency. Protect. The command wasn't spoken. It didn't need to be. Seraphine watched him, felt him, anchoring her in a world that was starting to slip. Each time the creature pushed closer, he was already there, already moving, already choosing her without knowing why. The thing faltered. Not defeated. Denied. With a final distortion of air and shadow, it pulled back, receding into the unseen edges it had come from. Gone. The silence it left behind rang louder than the fight. The wolf stood still, chest heaving, body taut. Then he turned. To her. No hesitation. He closed the distance in 2 strides and pressed into her, solid, grounding. His breath was hot against her skin, his presence overwhelming in its certainty. She reached for him without thinking. Her hands found his fur, fingers threading through it like she'd done it 1,000 times. He stilled. Then leaned into it. The shift back came slower this time. Controlled. Deliberate. When Kael collapsed forward, human again, she caught him. Not perfectly. But enough. His arms came around her instinctively, pulling her close, tight, like letting go wasn't an option his body recognized. His breath hit her neck, uneven. He stopped, voice breaking under the weight of something he couldn't name. His grip tightened. I don't remember you, he said, rough, honest. She closed her eyes. His next words came quieter. Truer. But losing you, his breath caught, like the thought itself hurt. Feels like dying. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then, slowly, like it cost him. His hand lifted from her back. Hovered. And didn't let go. He didn't loosen his hold. Even as his breathing steadied, even as the room settled around them again, Kael kept her close, like something in him refused to test what would happen if he didn't. Seraphine felt it first. Not outside. Inside. The same pressure from before, deeper now, threaded through her bones. The edges of her body thinned again, light slipping through where it shouldn't. Her fingers in his shirt felt less certain. The bargain had come back to finish itself. Kael's grip tightened instantly. No. He didn't know what he was refusing. Only that something was trying to take her. The air shifted, warped inward. Not a form, not a shape. Just presence, pressing from every direction at once. The exchange is complete. It wasn't sound. It was inevitability. Seraphine's breath faltered. Her body flickered, like reality couldn't decide whether to keep holding her together. Kael felt it. His hand moved to her face, firm, grounding. Stay with me. I don't think I get to, she whispered. The words barely carried. His jaw clenched. That's not how this works. It is. The pressure deepened. Then, a shift. Not from the entity. From something else. There is an alternative. The words dragged through the air, reluctant. Seraphine stilled. Kael didn't look away from her. Say it. If she is chosen, without memory, without debt, she may remain. The meaning settled, heavy and precise. No instinct. No pull. No half-recognition. A choice. Clean. Final. Kael's gaze flickered, just once. Conflict cut through him sharp and immediate. His wolf surged beneath the surface, pushing forward, already decided. But that wasn't enough. It had to be him. Seraphine felt it, the difference. The way the bond they'd built hovered just beneath the line, not allowed to cross it for him. I can't tell you, she said, voice thinner now. I can't make you understand. His grip on her wavered, not loosening, but uncertain. For the first time since this began. If I walk away, he said slowly, like forcing the thought into shape, this all stops. She is gone. The word landed final. Erasure. Complete this time. Silence stretched. Kael looked at her, really looked. Not for answers. Not for memory. For something real. Something present. She didn't reach for him. Didn't beg. Just stayed. Even as her edges blurred, even as her voice faded from the world. A choice. His breath left him slowly. Then he stepped closer. Closed the space completely. His hand found hers, not instinctive this time. Not reactive. Deliberate. I don't understand this, he said, low, steady despite the tension pulling at him. I don't know what you are to me. Or what I'm supposed to feel. The pressure around them sharpened, waiting. He didn't look away. But I know what it feels like when you're not here. His fingers tightened around hers. Choice. I'm not walking away. The world shifted. Not violently. Decisively. The pressure broke, pulled back like something forced to release its hold. The distortion in her body steadied, edges solidifying, breath returning fully to her lungs. Not restored. Rewritten. She was still new. But she was there. Kael felt the change under his hand. Real. Certain. He exhaled, something in his chest finally easing. Then his gaze lifted to hers, clearer now. Not confused. Present. Tell me who you are, he said. And this time. He didn't let go. The words didn't vanish the way lies usually did. They stayed. Heavy in the air between them, as if the room itself had decided to keep them. Seraphine felt Kael's hand tighten slightly around hers, not possessive, not uncertain either. Something steadier. Like he was anchoring himself to a decision he couldn't explain away anymore. His breathing was slower now, but not calm. Controlled tension threaded through every small movement in him, like his body was still waiting for danger that had already passed. Or hadn't. Outside the lodge, the forest had gone quiet in a way that didn't feel natural. No birds. No shifting wind. Just the sense of something watching from a distance it respected. Seraphine didn't look away from him. She couldn't. Because there was no history in his eyes anymore, no phantom recognition, no fractured memory fighting itself. Just choice. Raw. Uninformed. Real. You shouldn't say things like that, she whispered. Kael's brow tightened slightly. Why? Because it made her feel like something fragile was being built with bare hands. Because she didn't know what she would lose when it broke. Because she had already lost too much to trust beginnings. But none of that came out. Her voice failed at the edges again, softer instead. Because you don't remember enough to mean it. A flicker passed through his expression, not denial, not offense. Something quieter. Uncomfortable honesty. "I don't need memory to know what pulling away from you feels like," he said. That landed differently. Not in thought. In instinct. Something in her chest shifted, small, involuntary. The space between them didn't close, but it changed weight, like gravity had reoriented around the fact that he was still holding on. His thumb brushed once across her knuckles again. Almost absent. Almost unconscious. But he noticed his own reaction this time. So did she. He exhaled slowly, eyes dropping for a brief moment to their joined hands. "That shouldn't matter this much," he admitted. It already did. Seraphine's throat tightened. Not because of what he said. Because of what he was becoming without knowing why. A man building feeling from nothing but presence and refusal to let go. The kind of foundation that didn't need memory to hold. Kael looked up again, closer now, not in distance, but attention. "If I choose you like this," his voice lowered slightly. "There's no guarantee it leads anywhere, I understand." Her pulse hit harder. "I know," she said. A pause. Then, softer. "I don't either." That was the truth neither of them had said out loud until now. Not destiny. Not recognition. Just two people standing in the aftermath of something neither fully survived. Kael's grip steadied again. Final. Certain. And when he spoke, it wasn't dramatic. It was simple enough to change everything. "Good." A breath passed between them. The world didn't react. But something inside the space they shared did, like it had finally accepted that whatever came next would be built, not remembered. Kael didn't let go. And Seraphine realized, with a quiet ache that didn't know if it was fear or relief. He had already started choosing her again. Without reason. Without memory. Without anything except the unbearable certainty that losing her again would feel like dying.